I'm Peter Meredith, and welcome to the Writer's Review. Today we are reviewing the latest addition to the Star Wars universe, the Baby Yoda show.
It's the Mandalorian.
The Mandalorian. People who know me know I'm like the biggest Star Wars fan.
What? No.
Okay, maybe not the biggest, but I was a huge fan of the first three movies. They were great. I loved everything about them.
Good guess, but wrong.
Okay, maybe they weren't entirely perfect, but they were very good. And when the prequels came out, I was like, yes! They were even better than the first three. Okay, maybe they weren't great. And the premise of a trade war was kind of stupid, but the action was pretty much the best I'd ever... Okay, most of it, I mean. And I love the characters. Qui-Gon was excellent. And Ewan McGregor as Obi-Wan was awesome. And there was Padme. She had, like, cool hair. And at least we got to see how Anakin became Darth Vader.
Close, but definitely wrong.
Maybe I didn't like the prequels as much as I thought. Still, I was super excited when the final three movies hit the theaters.
What you talking about, Willis?
Okay, I liked the first movie. You have to give me that, right? Shit. Okay, so I thought the last three movies were a hot mess. Fine.
And the truth shall set you free!
Sorry, but Adam Driver deserved better. Kylo Ren was a whiny little bitch who got slapped around by an untrained nobody. He was annoying, and the love dyad was so forced and unromantic it made my feelings hurt. And I never thought Daisy Ridley was cute either.
That's a damn lie. I saw him with my own eyes.
I think it's safe to say that my relationship with Star Wars has been an odd one, sort of love-hate.
Thank you, sir. May I have another?
So this was me when I heard about The Mandalorian. But then it came out, and lo, the heavens parted, and the crowds went wild. I was thinking I need to see this. The way everyone was carrying on, I was sure this time it was going to be gold.
Yes! 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 Oh!
Instead, it was... In case you're wondering, I'm in witness protection, just so I can finish this review. It turns out that people can be a bit testy if you mention that you're not fully on board with The Mandalorian. It's not like I hate the show. It's okay. It just has its problems. Actually, it's a little worse than that. Before you firebomb my house, the problem is not with this little guy.
And I will hug him and pet him and squeeze him.
Baby Yoda is the show's saving grace. Without him, the show is nothing but tired set pieces and scenes that make you go, huh?
Come again.
But only if you think about them, something the writers desperately don't want you to do.
Don't think, just throw. Don't think, just throw.
So I like Baby Yoda, but what about Frenchie the Frenchman? Oh, I mean, Mando the Mandalorian. Wow, so much thought went into that name. He actually does the best he can with what he's been given, but when you can't take off your helmet, what can you do? Try to imagine the director for a moment. Mando, let's see angry.
Action!
How about a little bit more?
I hope that there will appear on stage this magical thing that in the theater we call committing to the moment. Stop! Stop it! You must stop!
Okay, what about happy? Can you do happy?
Yes, yes, yes. No, no, no.
This is the guy who's supposed to carry the show. Still, he manages to emote adequately. And the actual premise of the show is fantastic. The pacing is good, the special effects are top-notch, and although the rest of the acting is only adequate, it doesn't drag you from the story. It's the writing that kills it for me. I couldn't go 5 minutes without saying,
I don't even get that. What?
what? Starting with the opening scene. A bar fight in an opening scene. That seems familiar. Where have I seen that before? Remember what I said about tired set pieces? Yeah, so we get slapped with a cliche right off, But Mando turns out to be a straight-up killer. He takes on 3 guys and doesn't blink, chopping a squid man in half. The fight is short, nasty, and actually pretty cool. Good job. His bounty is one of the Blue Men group, whose only part in the show is to tell us what's happening. So you're a bounty hunter. Do Mandalorians ever take off their helmets?
Your helmet is so big.
Lord helmet, what?
I bet he's looking for a Reglamore. Is that your ship? It's a Razor Crest, right? Do you think there's any danger?
Danger's my middle name.
Okay.
I guess I'm glad we know all this stuff, but couldn't the writers think of any better way to convey this information without this guy just blurting it out? The writing only gets worse. We're 4 minutes into the show, and they're on a planet made of ice, and a speeder comes to pick them up. It's a convertible, just like the ones on the desert planet of Tatooine.
You serious?
It's freezing, and they're using a convertible. That's stupid. Are the people on the planet morons? Are the writers morons? Or do they think we're all morons?
Oh, you betcha, yeah.
Yeah.
So anyways, they're freezing as they ride across the ice, and the taxi driver says, "I'd stay off the ice." He's driving across ice on a planet made of ice in an open speeder. El Stupido. Then he gets all nervous because apparently there are ice monsters under the ice he's driving on. And he gets eaten by one.
Oh, God! Oh, I did not see that coming!
It's a giant ice water snake thing, and it's really cool looking, but for me the whole thing is ruined by the dumb line, "I'd stay off the ice." Mando fights it off with one quick zap from his super gun, and away they go into space. For some reason, Mando lets the blue dude walk around his ship. The blue guy starts poking around and sees a keypad. He taps the numbers randomly, and a door opens. Huh? I guess Mando's passcode was
A, B, C, D, E, F.
That's smart. The door opens, showing a bunch of cool guns, so clearly the blue guy is going to grab the biggest gun. After all, it's his only chance to get away, right? Wrong. He just shuts the door. Let's get this straight. He's done something bad enough to get a Mandalorian bounty hunter after him, and he's already been told that he's going to be taken in, dead or alive. His prospects are not good. Really, his only chance is to kill Mando. Instead, he goes on searching. For what? An escape pod, maybe? That would be useless. You think Mando wouldn't notice his escape pod flying off his ship? The guy snooping is all a very poor setup so we can see that Mando is using the freezy thing that Boba Fett did not want to use in Empire Strikes Back.
I love you.
I know.
I guess we're supposed to say, "Wow, that's the thing from the other show," and wet our pants over it. So after that, Mando goes to a typical Star Wars bar scene filled with crazies. Pretty cool. He meets old Apollo Creed, who tries to screw him over, cutting his bounty in half.
Stop right there!
Not this Mandalorian. This Mando is tough. He's not going to take that bullshit. So what does Mando do? Nothing. And what does Mando do after he takes it up the ass? He spreads his cheeks wider. He asks for more. Yep, after being screwed over, he demands all the bounties. This begs the question, why is he so driven to round up people for what is obviously a corrupt system? No idea. So Apollo tells him about a super secret bounty. Who is it? No idea. What did the guy do? No idea. How much does it pay? No idea. It sounds super fishy. So obviously Mando...
Silence!
Hello, writers. Does this make any sense whatsoever? He just got screwed over 2 seconds ago, and...
Don't think, just throw.
So Mando goes to see a guy about a thing. It's Vernon Herzog, who is very creepy, and I like the filthy stormtroopers he has with him. This is a great touch, and it makes sense. What doesn't make sense is Herzog giving Mando a fortune up front to hunt something. Again, no questions asked, and the only info that we have is that the person is 50 years old. That's it? That's all we know?
I know nothing. I see nothing. I say nothing.
The fortune given to Mando just happens to be Beskar, which just happens to be exactly the material he needs to make his unstoppable armor. As you will see, there are a lot of wonderful things that just happen around Mando. Vernon also gives him a magical tracking fob. I know this show is about space wizards and inexplicable science, but the tracking fob is just stupid. It can track anyone, anytime, over any distance. I'm talking it can find you easy as pie throughout a galaxy filled with millions of stars and billions of planets. Is it magic? It must be, because it's certainly not science. The fob allows the writers to jump from action scene to action scene without having to come up with any of those pesky details like research or bribing officials or any actual detective work on the part of Mando. None of that is even hinted at. He leaves Apollo, and in a blink, he shows up on a new world, and there's action right off the bat, just like the writers hoped, so you wouldn't ask, how'd he get there? While Mando looks through a telescope, a pair of 1,000-pound magic space pigs suddenly appear out of nowhere. How did they get the drop on Mando? He's not in a forest or surrounded by boulders where they could hide. He's just landed his spaceship in an open area, so I think we're supposed to believe the pigs were on stealth mode? What's worse is that the pigs get the better of him, and he's about to die, but luckily, he just happened to land his ship within 20 feet from a stealthy ninja pigman, who saves him. Remember how I complained about tired scenes? This scene was lifted from Star Wars. It's the exact same scene when the Sand People snuck up on Luke. Mando's luck doesn't end there. The pigman wants to help Mando for free because he's tired of all the bounty hunters coming through his land. Bounty hunters like Mando? Yeah. The pigman's help is not all that helpful. He convinces Mando he's got to ride one of the pigs that just tried to eat him because it's the only way to get to the bad guy base. This is stupid because, for one, doesn't he have a flying ship thing? For two, he does ride to the base, but he walks back. Then later in another episode, he gets a ride from a floating hover deal by the same pigman. So why ride the pigs at all? I really don't get it.
Don't even think about it.
So we can see him fall off? It feels like filler time to me, as if they had to pad the runtime, something they wouldn't have had to do, except they had those stupid magic fobs. The magic fobs make him jump from here to there, and they gotta do something in between. Whatever. He does go to the bad guy place.
Bye-bye, boys! Have fun storming the castle!
How do I know they're bad guys? They're ugly, and they're all men. That's it. Guilty as charged. There's like 50 of them. You might even say there's a plethora of bad guys.
Would you say I have a plethora of piñatas?
A what?
A plethora. Oh, yes. You have a plethora.
There's no way Mando can take on that many. What will he do?
Follow the leader. 1, 2, 3.
It just happens that a bounty droid shows up. Oops, I mean an indestructible bounty droid. He rips through the bad guys like they were nothing. But again, are they really bad guys? For all we know, this 50-year-old could be a horrible space Hitler.
Nazi!
And these guys are holding him in space jail. Yes, I get that they are dirty and male, the two prime requisites for being bad. But shouldn't we need more proof before we start killing them one after? I guess not. This fight scene plays a lot like a video game. The bad guys keep popping out of hidey holes one or two at a time. It actually looks kind of fun. So much fun that Mando wants to get in on the mass murdering. I really don't know what else to call the slaughtering of complete strangers. They fight, and the droid gets hit like 10 times, not a scratch, and he kills 20 of them without a problem. But when 20 more show up, suddenly he wants to blow himself up? What? He wants to go into self-destruct mode.
You just don't get it, do you? You don't.
I guess I don't. The odds haven't really gotten worse, and the droid has proven that these poor innocent people they're murdering aren't hardened fighters. Mando talks him out of blowing himself up, only just then, the bad guys bring up a heavy machine gun. Mando yells, "Cover me!" which means draw all their fire. The nearly invincible droid gets hit at least 8 times and suffers the robot version of a flesh wound. While this is going on, the writers steal yet another scene from another show. They have Mando jump on the heavy machine gun hoverpod, and he starts butchering these bad guys. The first time I saw the scene was 45 years ago in a movie called To Hell and Back with Audie Murphy. That was an actually good movie. I also got to play this exact scene in at least 3 different video games. I have to wonder if the writers feel clever about stealing from video games. Okay, now that all the bad guys are dead, we get to find out what this 50-year-old is all about. I bet they kept him locked in a dungeon and tortured him endlessly. They were bad guys, right? So they get to the 50-year-old, and it's time for the big reveal. But it's not much of a reveal. The 50-year-old is really Baby Yoda. What a shocker, right? We knew he was going to be in the show, so yeah, here he is. The only real shocker is that Baby Yoda looks like he's fine. He doesn't look tortured at all. Does Mando realize that maybe he just murdered 100 people who are trying to keep Baby Yoda safe?
Hey, you shut your face! If we want to hear you talk, I will shove my arm up your ass and work your mouth like a puppet.
There's no time to decide guilt now because the indestructible droid has been directed to kill Baby Yoda. Oh no, what will Mando do? The indestructible droid is too indestructible to kill. We've seen the laser beams bounce off him time and again. The thing is, dead. Mando kills it with one shot. What? I know what you're thinking. How do you kill an invincible robot that reacts faster than any man and can withstand direct laser blasts from huge heavy machine guns? You shoot him in the head. So they made the robot's body out of vibranium or titanium, but they decided to make his head out of an old tin can? Was that it? This only proves one thing. Writing is easy, logic is hard. The show ends with a Michelangelo moment. No, not that Michelangelo, this one. It's a nice moment and one that saved the show, at least a little for me. It gave me hope for episode 2 when I really didn't have any up to that point.
He's not high hopes.
Episode 1 could have been so much better. No, it should have been so much better. Stuff just happens and we never know why. Why is Baby Yoda with the bad guys? Who sent the killer droid? Why does Herzog want Baby Yoda so badly? And why is it all so hush-hush? Luckily, we have an entire season to answer those questions. None of them get answered, by the way. Sorry. And if you even think about asking why, the fans will call you a hater.
Double hate.
Loathe entirely.
Or my favorite, it's a show about space wizards. You have to suspend belief. Right.
I got you $1.
Oh, you almost had it. Oh, you almost had it. Oh.
My rating for episode 1, a limp-wristed 71. It was Star Wars, and like so much of Star Wars, you have the wonderful spectacle, which is then let down by the bad writing. But it still hooks you, and I went ahead and watched episode 2. It was a mistake, but to find out why, you're going to have to tune in next time. While you're waiting, I'd like to suggest The Apocalypse, Book 1 of the Undead World. With over 6,000 5-star reviews worldwide, you can't go wrong with this one. If you enjoyed this review, hit the subscribe button. And if you're a reader, you're in luck because I happen to have written an entire library of books just for you. Click on the links below to see my latest.